So, you're on a budget, but you don't know what armor to buy. A scenario that I've been in, and I'm pretty sure you have too. Today, we're going to be taking a look through the progression of budget armor in Hypixel Skyblock. Now, before various updates were introduced into Hypixel Skyblock, then I would probably have recommended just a Granite Lapis armor, and that can be your starter armor. It's free, I mean, you can pay very little coins for it if you really want to. But now if you just head over to Rosetta, who sells starter gear, there's literally a range, there's a selection. Depending on how many coins you've got, there's literally 6 different sets you can buy. If you really have little coins, you can just buy this simple iron armor. It will give you a little bit more survivability. From there, you've got the Rosetta set, which is going to set you back around about 5k, 6k, and it's a little bit better than the last. And then you've got a selection of 4 different armor sets. Now, these 4 different armor sets do slightly different things. For instance, this Squire set is going to give you a little bit of health, a little bit of defense. It will set you up just nicely to go into the deep caverns, as it says. The Mercenary set, now, this is a little bit different. It's a little bit better. It costs a little bit more coins. Gives you plus 40 health, plus 40 defense, and even more actually on the leggings and the chest plate. But obviously, that's if you've got a little bit more coins. Honestly, if you have this many coins to spend on armor, I wouldn't really buy this set. The Celeste set is not bad, it gives you a little bit of survivability, gives you a bit more intelligence. Honestly, it's a little bit pointless. The Starlight set is just basically a better version of the Celeste set. I'd probably recommend buying the Squire set out of any of them. It's going to cost you max like 15 to 20k, and yeah, it's really not too bad. Anyway, you've played a little bit more of the game, you've progressed a little bit, you've got a few more coins, you feel a little bit more confident, you need something better. I would then recommend moving on to the Glaciite set. Now, as you can see, we're just taking a look at a base chest plate with no upgrades on it at all. It gives you plus 150 defense, plus 15 speed, plus 10 true defense, and plus 10 mining speed. So it is technically a mining set, but it gives you 150 defense on one piece, which is a lot. The boots give you plus 70 defense, the leggings give you plus 125, and the helmet gives plus 70. So, if you're looking for a bit of survivability, this is a great set, and it's relatively cheap. Off the AH, you could probably pick the set up for around about 200k. Alternatively, if you have access to the deep caverns and then the dwarven mines, you can grind the set out yourself, and it will not cost anything at all. You can get access to the dwarven mines, and then make your way over to the ice walkers, which are just across this bridge. Essentially, if you kill enough of these ice walkers, they'll drop pieces of armor. I mean, they also drop glaciite jewels. Obviously, they do drop armor as well, and the armor is what you want, really. The glaciite jewels do sell for a decent bit, so if you do get them, you can sell them. But eventually, you will drop the set. Some people get luckier than others. Usually, if you're running around quite consistently, you could probably get it in about half an hour. Just a tip, if you use a pickaxe on these guys, you do way more damage. So if you are struggling to kill them in one hit, use a pickaxe. Something else you should consider doing is subscribing to the channel. Become part of the 23%, there's no reason not to. You should also consider joining the Discord server. It's the top link in the description. We've just hit 12k members. It's going well. There's no reason not to join. You need carries. You want to carry. Join the server. Anyway, on to the next armor set, or armor sets. Now, pretty much every player at some point in the Hypixel Skyblock progression is going to come to the end. And realistically, the only armor set that you really need for the end, up until a certain point, is the Ender armor. Now, you can't buy this Ender armor. You simply have to grind it out yourself. It is soulbound. And the way that you obtain it is basically just by killing Endermen. I'd recommend just killing the lowest health Endermen, kill them, and you'll get the armor drops eventually. It is relatively, I say relatively, it is relatively rare to get it dropped, depending on your magic find. Most people could probably get it in about an hour or something like that. It really does depend on your luck. But the set itself, as you can see, the actual set isn't amazing, but the actual ability is what you want. Okay, so all stats on this armor piece are multiplied by 2 while on the end island. So basically, all of your stats are doubled when you wear the armor. That's why it's so good. So maybe if you're on a budget and you're an earlier game player, I urge you guys not to sleep on dragon sets. I'm not saying you need to spend millions of coins on a superior set, because you don't. Now, I'm not saying a strong dragon set is the best armor set you're ever going to use. But the base stats, it's going to increase your strength, so it's going to give you a buff in damage. It's going to give you plus 70 health, which is pretty good. It's going to give you plus 110 defense, which is pretty good. That's just on the helmet. On the boots, it's going to buff your health and defense, not quite as much. On the chest plate, plus 120 health, plus 150 defense, that's quite good. And leggings, plus 100 health, plus 140 defense. They all give you 25 strength as well, so altogether you get plus 100 strength, which is pretty good. Also, this set is dungeonizable, so realistically it is probably your entry level dungeon set. Probably pick the set up for just less than 2 million coins if you look out for some good deals. I'm not saying it's going to be the best armor set that you'll ever use, but I just wouldn't skip it. And to be honest, from here, this is where I guess things start to get a bit more expensive, and in turn, the armor just starts to get much better. I would then recommend moving on to a 3/4 Shadow Assassin set. So I'd recommend getting some Shadow Assassin boot, Shadow Assassin helmet, and Shadow Assassin leggings. For a base set, you're probably going to pay around 6 million coins. You also need a chestplate too. I would then recommend picking up a chestplate like a Zombie Knight chestplate. Now of course the set is going to be better and it's going to deal more damage if you also buy the Shadow Assassin chestplate, although the chestplate alone is 15 million coins. So what I would recommend is if you are on a budget, I'd buy the 3/4 Shadow Assassin with the Zombie Knight chestplate, and in the meantime save up for the chestplate, and when you have enough coins buy it, because it is definitely way better, but the Zombie Knight chestplate is just a nice compromise if you can't quite afford the full set. Honestly, I don't really need to say how good Shadow Assassin is, it speaks for itself. And to be honest, from a strong dragon set to even a 3/4 Shadow Assassin with Zombie Knight chestplate, you'll see a huge difference. If you're going for more of a mage build, you could do something similar to Shadow Assassin with Necromancer Lord. Although, this armor doesn't give a massive intelligence buff, but being a mage, you're naturally going to be pretty squishy and prone to dying. And it does give you a pretty nice health and defense bonus, along with a bit of intelligence too. Now, the 3/4 set is probably going to set you back around about 4.5 to 5 million coins, so not too dissimilar to Shadow Assassin. And in this case, the chestplate is 10 million coins, still quite a big jump, so if you can't afford the chestplate, then I would perhaps opt for a perfect chestplate. Ideally, you'd have a tier 12, but to be honest at that point, it's probably more expensive than the actual Necromancer Lord chestplate. And now these perfect chestplates come in a massive variation of tiers. Obviously, the higher the tier, the better it is. At the same time, the higher the tier, the more expensive it is. So depending on how much of a budget you're actually on, you could really make a choice yourself. Now, unfortunately, in between Shadow Assassin and Necron, there isn't really anything. I mean, okay. As I was saying, in between Shadow Assassin and Necron, there isn't really too much. Some people may argue Superior Dragon is somewhat in between. Although Superior is... it's not really a specifically good set. It's decent at a few different things, but it's not got anything in particular that it's amazing at. Like, Shadow Assassin is going to increase your damage quite a lot because it is a damaging set. The same with Necron, and this Superior Dragon is sort of just like, I don't know, gives you a bit of everything. Don't get me wrong, for certain scenarios, I mean, this is going to be better than Shadow Assassin. At the end of the day, it does depend what you're attempting to do within the game. And as I said, this is where the price really steps up. If you were to go for a Necron set, I wouldn't recommend buying the helmet, because number one, it's 13 million coins for a completely plain one, and you'd probably actually be better off using a tarantula helmet in most scenarios. Anyway, yeah, so a base set, I mean, the boots are 12 mil, leggings are 17, and the chest plate is around 22, 23 mil. So the set itself will probably set you back around about 52 mil. That's completely plain, and then, like I said, if you're on a budget, and to be honest, I believe I've done damage tests, and I do more damage with the tarantula helmet than Necron helmet. So I use tarantula helmet, and, you know, it's much cheaper than the helmet anyway. Anyway, I'm sure there's probably slightly different ways of progressing through armor within the game, but that's probably the way that I'd do it if I had to start again. It does get a little bit dodgy in between, like, Strong Dragon or somewhere, or something similar to Strong Dragon and Shadow Assassin, because there is quite a big gap. Of course, the requirements to use Shadow Assassin 2, you've got to use something to get there. Some people would even throw adaptive armor in there. Once again, adaptive armor's a decent all-rounder, but it's not good at anything in particular. But if you were struggling for something in between Strong Dragon and Shadow Assassin, then you could always get an adaptive set. Anyway, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.